Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Come on in, come on in as we kick off day 2 of the 7-day fruit and salad challenge. So come on in, come on in. If you guys have your fruit and salad ebook, feel free to pull it up on an alternative device. That way you can follow along as we continue to understanding the tactics and strategies of helping you correct your blood pressure issues. So come on in, and we're going to get started in just a moment. So if you can hear me clearly and you can see me clearly, just put a 1 inside of the chat. That way I can make sure that everyone can hear me and see me, and we don't have any technical difficulties as we continue to move forward through this process. So we had we're going to do a quick recap of day 1. Day 1, basically, we went over the rules of the challenge. We were talking about, we went into details about what the rules are and how to actively participate in the challenge when it came down to posting the foods that you're consuming, the 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruits, as well as the 1 large salad each and every day for the next 7 days. Many people have been actively participating in the group, taking their blood pressure, posting it, as well as posting a picture of the meals that they're consuming as well. So I definitely want to say hats off to everyone that's actively participating in this healing journey for themselves, because one thing about it is you cannot be a spectator if you expect to heal and correct these types of issues. Actively participating is one of the key solutions to helping you get over the hump, because again, this is where that accountability comes into play at. So I definitely want to thank everybody that's been posting those pictures. And now we're going to dive into the next session. So we also talked about the potassium and the magnesium, how these 2 essential minerals, the role that they play when it comes to managing blood pressure. Now we also have calcium, sodium, and zinc, as well as antioxidants and vitamin D as well to talk about, to continue understanding blood pressure. But before we dive into the next set of minerals, now I want to talk about how, or rather what we can do to amplify the effects of these strategies that we're putting together. So right now we're all just eating and adding more fresh, nutritious, raw foods to our diets. Now I'm going to talk about a few things that we can do to amplify the effects and have a larger impact in a shorter period of time. So for those of us that's, when we signed up, we had the option of purchasing the Ooh Baby I Like It Raw ebook, or the Essentials bundle rather. The Essential bundles carries the Ooh Baby I Like It Raw ebook, which is a 7-day detox plan that helps you understand how to go on a 7-day raw diet to help have a better impact on correcting blood pressure issues. And this goes into details helping you understand the symptoms you can expect during detoxification. Also, it contains 52 recipes that can help you on this journey. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this Essentials bundle. That way you can understand how to properly utilize it and how to maximize its impact when it comes down to correcting your blood pressure issues. So the Essentials bundle for the blood pressure Essentials bundles contain this ebook as well as the recipes, and that gives you the format of going raw for 7 days. And during these 7 days, it focuses on consuming nothing but fresh raw foods in their whole form. So you're talking about fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, all raw. And what this does is it continues to provide your body with those essential minerals that it may be lacking that's causing blood pressure issues. So when you go on a raw diet, your sole focus is just eating these raw foods and getting these minerals in its highest form. And for the next 7 days, as you apply this strategy, it just continues to flood your body and nourish your body with these minerals to allow it to assimilate them properly and utilize them to the level to help you correct your blood pressure. So that 7-day raw challenge is definitely a step up from just the typical 7-day fruit and salad challenge. This is something that I recommend for the individuals that are ready to just step on the gas and be done with these blood pressure issues. The raw challenge doesn't have any negative impact on your overall health in any type of way, because you're still eating an assortment of fresh minerals and nutrients. And one of the biggest questions some individuals may ask is, well, where do I get my protein from and things like that? And we have to understand, when you're consuming fresh whole foods, The whole foods give you the building blocks, the amino acids that are essential for creating a whole protein. So you don't have to ever worry about where your protein is coming from, especially when you're eating an abundance of fresh whole foods. Yesterday we talked about how we're making sure we're adding a variety of foods to our diet in a sense of more colors like purple cabbage, the green kale, green arugula, or the green salad blends, red and yellow peppers, tomatoes, all the vibrancies or all the colors to our salad. And these different colors provides different minerals and nutrients, and they all come together to help your body as a whole. So when you go on this 7-day raw challenge that was there, this continues to provide you with those nutrients while also eliminating those problematic foods from the diet to help you get bigger results as you go through this whole process. And one thing about it is when you go through this cycle, you start to feel better almost immediately, and it starts to reflect in your energy levels, your digestive health, and most importantly, your blood pressure, and it's going to help you on this journey. So if you got that essentials bundle, I definitely hope you take advantage of it, and you can apply it now, or you can say, well, maybe I'm not too ready for this, but you can apply it whenever you are, and this is going to continue to help you on your healing journey to get to where you need to be to correct your blood pressure issues. So that essential bundle is definitely something that's going to be very useful through this process. And the next strategy, so that's one strategy. The next strategy that we can do as well is what I like to call the raw until 4 strategy. Now this is inside of your ebook as well. If you have the fruit and salad ebook, let me go to the first page. If you have the fruit and salad ebook, you can be able to see the raw challenge in there. So everyone that's here that got the link, you should have this fruit and salad ebook. So if you have this fruit and salad ebook, inside of this book, it goes deeper into not only just the strategies of the fruit and salad challenge, but also the raw until 4 challenge. I'm going to break the raw until 4 challenge down a little bit more so you can understand exactly how it works as well. So the raw until 4 challenge is exactly what it sounds like. You're having nothing but fresh raw foods until 4 o'clock p.m. And from 4 o'clock p.m., that's just where you're going to start including going back to eating fresh cooked foods afterwards. And the goal is basically from the time you wake up in the morning, you're consuming nothing but fresh, raw, whole foods. Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, large salad, all in their raw form. Nuts, seeds, all those, just have them in their raw form. You're just giving yourself fresh, raw foods from the time you get up all the way until 4 o'clock. Very simple. One of the main things is there's no cap on how much you can consume. The only thing I say be mindful of, if you're consuming nuts, you don't want to overdo nuts, mainly because they'll put some weight on you, and if you're trying to actually lose some weight, nuts will keep you at a standstill. They have healthy fats and a lot of essentials that you need, but overdoing it will just have your weight just stay exactly where it is. But when it comes down to all of the other foods that you're able to consume, you can consume them in abundance. Just consume as much as you need, as much as you want. You find yourself hungry at lunch, have a salad, have some fruits with it, but having them in their raw forms is going to continue to provide you with those essentials, the vitamins and minerals, the fiber, the water, the antioxidants, the enzymes. All of those things are going to be essential for helping you on your journey to correct your blood pressure issues. And not only is it going to help your blood pressure get better, but it's going to help your body as a whole. Most people aren't getting nowhere as near as much as they need when it comes down to eating fresh fruits and vegetables each and every day. But extending your window from the time you wake up to 4 o'clock for only raw foods, it allows for you to maximize your potential when it comes down to getting these foods into your diet. And then when 4 o'clock comes, 4 p.m., now you go back to eating those more cooked foods and stay on a more health promoting path. And this is going to continue to go all day, all morning, all afternoon. You're giving your body fresh raw foods to build with. And at nighttime, you go ahead and have your cooked food and keep going through this cycle. And this is going to, again, be another step up that's going to allow your body to continue to cleanse itself and utilize those essential minerals to help you with your blood pressure. Again, the goal of this challenge is to start incorporating more whole foods into the diet. And when you're applying these types of strategies, you're just building on it, and you're building the nutritional storages. So if you're dealing with a potassium deficiency, a magnesium deficiency, or what have you, you're getting those essentials that are going to allow for your body to build and correct those deficiencies. And this is how you start to get better control of your blood pressure. So the essential bundle contains the Ooh Baby I Like It Raw ebook for the 7-day raw challenge, and the fruit and salad ebook also contains the raw until 4 strategy, as well as the 7-day fruit and salad challenge strategy. So that's 3 different strategies that you guys have. If you're not ready for the raw until 4 strategy or the 7-day raw fast challenge, you still have the 7-day fruit and salad challenge, where you're just simply consuming 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruits per day and 1 large salad based off of the guidelines that we have inside of the book. So there's many different options. Choose the one that you want for you and just continue to be consistent. Now, again, this fruit and salad challenge is part 1 of the six challenge series that we're going to be doing. So this is your stepping stone to introduce you into those minerals and those health promoting foods. And then we're going to move into the next one, which is going to be occurring next week, the pressure purge challenge, where we're going to be pulling out the problematic foods. We're going to be understanding the foods that are causing the blood pressure problems. We're going to be understanding not only how to remove them from the diet, but understanding what our substitutions are. You don't want to just take stuff out and be left with an empty void, because when you're left with an empty void, either something else going to find its way in there, or you're going to end up putting that same problematic item back inside there. So we want to know what our substitutions are. And again, this journey is all about understanding and learning how to correct these issues, and making sure we're doing so that way we're in control of this situation. We're not relying upon outside medication or supplementation to do this for us. And this is how you build your body up to correct blood pressure issues. So now, with that being said, we're going to go right back into our ebook. And the part I want to go to right now is going to be sodium. We talked about potassium, we talked about magnesium. I want to jump right into the sodium aspect of it right now. That way we can go into part of the removal process when it comes down to certain things that's influencing the problem. So I'm going to the sodium page right now. Give me just a second. I'm kind of flipping through. I kind of changed my page that I had it on. So we're going to do sodium and antioxidants today. And this is going to be very essential when you understand how everything works as far as blood pressure. Now, one thing about sodium, again, I mentioned this quite a few times, and that's especially when I do other live cooking demos, that sodium is not always the problem with blood pressure. You know, sometimes we think, oh, we just lower our sodium and you correct the blood pressure issues. It's not always the problem, but for a lot of people, it is. But the main goal of these challenges is to dot our I's, cross our T's, and make sure we're going through the different pathways that have that influence on your blood pressure issues. Is sodium going to be everyone's problem? Not at all. But you won't know unless you go through this realm and make the necessary adjustments. So you have to go into the understanding the sodium levels and tweak it, see what's going on, eliminate it, pull it, remove it. And that way you can see how your body responds. So now we're going to talk about sodium, the role that it plays, but most importantly, we're going to talk about where that hidden sodium is, because most sodium doesn't necessarily come from the salt shaker. A lot of it is hidden in other foods. So we're going to talk about that after we break down the role of sodium. So I'm inside of the ebook right now, and we're going to get started. So sodium, a mineral commonly consumed in the form of salt, plays a significant role in the development and management of high blood pressure. When we consume excessive amounts of sodium, it can lead to fluid retention and increased blood volume, which in turn raises blood pressure levels. Now, one thing that often happens, we use the term salt and sodium interchangeably, but they're 2 totally different things. Salt is sodium chloride, which is a bonded chemical of sodium and chloride. And sodium is sodium. It's essential for life in every living thing, and it's also found in every fresh whole foods. An apple has sodium, a carrot has sodium, celery has sodium, kale, spinach, all of it has sodium. It needs it. It's part of the structure of the plant. So understanding that sodium is not necessarily a bad thing. Your body needs it. But when we overconsume it through outside sources such as processed foods and things like that, this is where it starts to create a bigger problem for us. And one thing we have to remember is everywhere sodium goes, water follows, and we'll get into that in just a second. The kidneys play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of sodium in the body, but excessive sodium intake can overwhelm their ability to excrete it efficiently. This can result in higher sodium levels in the bloodstream, causing water retention and an increase in blood pressure. Individuals with hypertension or predisposition to high blood pressure are often advised to reduce their sodium intake. Limiting the consumption of processed and packaged foods, which tend to be high in sodium, is a practical approach. Instead, opt for fresh whole foods, and using herbs and spices to enhance flavor can help manage sodium intake and support healthy blood pressure levels. It's essential to strike a balance between sodium intake and overall cardiovascular health to promote optimum well-being. Now we're going to go back into the sodium potassium balance that we spoke about yesterday. We spoke about it from a potassium standpoint. Now we're going to go back into it on the sodium side of things to understand the role that sodium plays. Now, sodium is, again, it's essential for many different bodily functions in many different areas. And when it's lacking, you find yourself with muscle cramps, you find yourself suffering from many different ailments that are just triggered in many different ways. So efficient amounts of sodium is key. Now, when we spoke about eliminating the excess amount of sodium and salt from our diet, we have to understand where that sodium is going to come from if we're removing it from the outside sources. So understanding that when you eat whole foods, we talk about 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruits, as well as 1 large salad during this challenge. All of these whole foods contains enough sodium for your body, plus everything else that you may be consuming as well. So understand that the average person needs roughly anywhere between 300 to 500 milligrams of sodium per day to function at normal levels without any type of symptoms or deficiencies popping up. So understanding that's all the sodium you need. Individuals that, let's say, that are more active, work outdoors, or they sweat a lot, these are the individuals that tend to need more sodium because they're constantly excreting and losing sodium. So the average person that may be having a desk job, they're not too physically active, they're not out in the sun sweating all day, you don't need a whole lot of sodium. Your body needs that much of it. But what happens is when we consume the standard American diet, we're over consuming the sodium. The average person needs about 500 milligrams of sodium. Each day, the standard American diet typically gives individuals anywhere between 2,800 to 3,500 milligrams of sodium. So you're talking about way above the norm for what people need. And the individuals that tend to have that sodium sensitivity, the individuals that tend to have that sodium sensitivity, they start to develop those complications because, again, the kidneys are not able to flush out all the sodium that they're building and holding on to. And now the kidneys are not able to flush it out. It starts to back up inside the body through different pathways. One, it starts to stay inside of the muscles of the blood vessels, and it causes the blood vessels to begin to harden. When they begin to harden, we spoke about this as well, the arteries become stiff and they're not as elastic as they need to be, and the heart has to pump harder in order to get the blood through the cardiovascular system. And another place that it tends to stay at is up under the skin. And this is one of the main storage areas that the body keeps sodium at, because it can't just stay inside of the bloodstream, because you run the risk of sodium concentration, and it's too much sodium, and that's a big problem. So the body starts to store it in other places up under the skin. And this is why if you ever go out and start sweating and exercising and your sweat get into your eye, it starts to sting and burn, or if it get into your mouth, it starts to taste salty. This is because your body is trying to eliminate the excess amount of sodium that is holding on through any possible way. And when you exercise, it's releasing it as well. So understanding this excessive amount of sodium, it's there and your body's just holding on to it, waiting for a way to release it. And once you eliminate the excess amount of sodium from the diet, and you're only getting that sodium from the whole foods that you're consuming, now the burden is off of the body from excess sodium coming in, and it can start releasing it normally through the natural pathways through the urine, and then when you start creating more movement and exercising, it can continue to release it as well. And now your sodium levels start to come down. You're also going to be eating these whole foods. This is going to allow your potassium levels to come up, and that's going to bring more balance to this sodium potassium pathway. That's going to help correct the blood pressure issues. So this is another pathway that we just have to understand. And again, this may not be everyone's direct problem, but understanding it will help you bring that blood pressure down and gain more control, because again, it's about understanding the different pathways. If you don't go down every pathway, you would never know what is directly contributing to it, and it'll be a longer, harder journey to get the results that you need. So going down this sodium potassium pathway is going to be part of the key to correcting this type of problem. So here's a list of packaged foods that are often high in sodium and should be avoided when trying to control blood pressure. Number one is going to be processed meats. Deli meats, bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and canned meats are typically high in sodium due to the curing and preserving process. One thing you have to understand that during this healing season that you guys are in, during the next 6 weeks of getting to the root cause of your blood pressure issues, processed foods have to be eliminated, because if you're still dibbling, dabbling, and having a little bit here and having a little bit there, you're still allowing for your body to have to deal with, the excess sodium and other things that are coming in. If you plan on getting to the root cause of the problem, you have to forego these types of items, because they're not doing you any good. They're only contributing to the problem. Rule number one in healing is you have to remove all potential causes. Processed foods, these processed meats, they're high in sodium, and this is part of the issue that we're dealing with. So understanding what your options are, your substitutions are, or just eliminating completely is going to be key. The deli meats, the bacon, the sausages, hot dogs, canned meats, all of them are typically high in sodium. Number two is going to be the canned soups and broths. Many canned soups, broths, and bouillons contain significant amounts of sodium as a preservative and flavor enhancer. So we have to understand that although we may be trying to make health promoting decisions by getting canned soups or other canned items, canned vegetables and things like that, we have to be mindful of the sodium content that it may contain, because we might say, oh, this is a healthy version of these fresh vegetables or these canned vegetables, but it may be packed with sodium to preserve it on the shelf and enhance its flavor. And this sodium, although you may be trying to do something positive, it's going to have a negative impact. And you may be wondering, like, why is I'm still in limbo with my pressure? I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but it's that hidden sodium that's inside of the seasoning or the bouillon cubes or the canned foods and the spices. Those are all there that's continuing to have an impact. And you might see yourself getting some results, but you're not getting the results that you need. And you have to understand how to identify some of these things. Number three, condiments and sauces. Bottled salad dressings, ketchup, soy sauce, barbecue sauce, and other condiments often have high sodium content. Opt for low sodium or reduced sodium versions, or make your own homemade versions using fresh ingredients. Part of the 7-day fruit and salad challenge is to eliminate all store-bought salad dressings for our salads. Reason being, they're highly processed. They contain salt, oil, sugar, and all those other additives and preservatives to stabilize it and make it taste a certain way. And this contributes to the blood pressure issues. It doesn't matter the Hidden Valley Ranch, the fat-free ranch, the Thousand Islands, all of them, 99% of them. I've only seen 1 or 2 different salad dressings that didn't have all those additives in it. So you're talking 99% of salad dressings have these things. And this is why I gave you guys the different salad dressing recipes. That way you can simply make 1 or 2 and store it in your refrigerator for the next 4 or 5 days and start to get comfortable through this process of making these things, because you have to remove all potential causes. What's the point of having this nice healthy salad and you put this dressing on it that's only going to have a negative impact on you? You're getting the nutrients that you need, but you're also adding the excess sugar and excess sodium to it that's going to cancel out the things that you're trying to build upon. So understanding that although you may love this salad dressing, during this season, you have to eliminate it if you're trying to get through and get to the root cause of this problem. So the condiments and the sauces are going to be a big deal. The ketchup by far is has tons of sugar, has tons of salt in it. Just look at the back of the bottle. The back of the bottle will tell you per teaspoon, per tablespoon, how much is in there. And most people don't typically use a teaspoon of ketchup. We probably allowed to get a nice little dose on whatever we're having. And and we're dipping and consuming it, and all that adds up, because not only are you getting it from this one meal, but every other meal is going to have sodium in it as well, even the fresh whole foods that you're eating. So understanding that where this excess sodium is coming from, you got to be able to cut it off and make the necessary adjustments. Number 4, snack foods. Salted chips, pretzels, crackers, and other salty snacks are notorious for their high sodium content. Look for low sodium or unsalted options, or choose healthier snack alternatives like the fresh fruits, vegetables, or unsalted nuts. So understand those snack foods, those favorite snack foods that we have, we're in a season right now where we got to back away from the table. We got to push them away and say, you know what? I can't do it right now. I'm focusing on me. I don't deserve some rich crackers right now. Although I might want them, I might not deserve them right now, because I need to figure this out. And when you find a way to push them away, but also find those substitutions that can help you through those tough times, this is going to allow for you to get better and gain more control. Number 5, instant noodles and ready-to-eat meals. Instant noodles, prepackaged pasta, rice dishes, and ready-to-eat meals are often loaded with sodium to enhance the flavor and prolong the shelf life. So opt for healthier homemade versions or choose lower sodium options if available. Now, these types of packaged foods, again, that little package of seasoning that comes with these instant noodles and things like that, laced with sodium, MSG, you name it, it's all inside of there, and it's going to have a direct impact on your blood pressure and your overall health. So we have to understand these things have to be removed from the diet. Again, healing starts with the removal. It starts with subtraction. You have to subtract the things that are causing the problem and implement those things to help build itself up. If you're eating these health promoting foods, but you're still eating things that are causing the problem, you're never going to get over that hump. In order to get those results that you need, you really got to start pulling those things out that mean you no good and eliminating them from this whole cycle. Number 6, frozen meals and pizza. Frozen meals, frozen pizzas, and other convenience foods can contain high levels of sodium as a preservative and a taste enhancer. Look for the lower sodium options of preparing these meals with fresh ingredients whenever possible. So understanding the TV dinners, the manwich meals, or all those frozen items inside of the grocery section, they got to keep them fresh somehow. Freezing it alone is not going to do it. So they add the salt and the sodium to it to preserve whatever vegetables and whatever proteins are on there. And when they do this, you end up consuming it, and you see that blood pressure start to continue to rise. So understanding where it's at is key. Next up, which is very important, processed cheese spreads. Processed cheese products, cheese spreads, and cheese dips often contain high amounts of sodium. Choose natural, low sodium cheese varieties or explore alternative spreads like hummus or nut butters. I saw a couple individuals posted salads with cheese on top of it, and this is what we got to continue to understand. We might be accustomed to having a thing a certain way, but we got to understand how it's happening or how it's impacting us. So this processed cheese that we're putting on there, we got to pull them out, because you can't make cheese without salt. You have to put an excessive amount of salt inside of it just to create it, and then it's something called sodium citrate. That's a binder that allows cheese to stretch the way that it does. So you're putting salt on top of salt to create this product. And although it may taste great to some individuals, we have to be mindful of the sodium content, because it's killing us in many different ways. And eliminating this processed cheese is going to be a key to helping you get over this hump. So remember, reading nutrition labels and being mindful of sodium content is essential when selecting packaged foods. Opt for fresh whole foods and preparing meals at home using herbs, spices, and natural flavorings can help control sodium intake more effectively and support healthy blood pressure levels. Now, during our next challenge, which is going to be the pressure purge challenge, this is where we understand the swapping and the pulling, what to substitute with. Understanding if we're pulling certain things out, what we can put in that's going to allow us to have similar satisfaction, or something that has an alternative taste that's going to continue to help us on this journey. Again, you don't want to take stuff away and you just left with a void because something's always going to find its way in that spot. So having a healthy alternative, something that's going to allow you to continue to move forward, is a big part of these different strategies. And in the Pressure Purge Challenge, we're going to be breaking that down. Next up, we're going to move into antioxidants. We spoke about this as well briefly. I think it was yesterday, or I might have did this in another cooking video that I had. But we're going to move into antioxidants. And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them inside of the chat, and that way I can get to them and answer them for you. And we can continue to make sure that everyone's on the same page with understanding these essentials. That way, as we start to build ourselves up and apply these different strategies, we can understand what's best for us and how to move through this. So we're going to go through antioxidants, and then we're going to open up for some questions as well. Antioxidants play a crucial role in regulating blood pressure and supporting overall cardiovascular health. These powerful compounds help neutralize harmful free radicals in the body, which can cause oxidative stress and contribute to inflammation and damage to blood vessels. By reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, antioxidants help maintain the integrity and flexibility of blood vessels, promoting healthy blood flow and optimum blood pressure levels. So one of my favorite things to talk about is that battle, that war that's going on inside of the body. The war between free radicals and antioxidants. Everybody got it going on. This is a 24/7 battle that's happening. Doesn't matter. You can be the healthiest person in the world. You still got free radicals floating around inside of your body because it's a normal byproduct of metabolism. But making sure that you're giving your body the antioxidants that it needs to fight off these free radicals and keep them low and keep them controlled, it's going to help you on your journey. Any individual dealing with high blood pressure, they're dealing with the form of oxidative stress caused by these free radicals that's damaging the innermost lining of your blood vessels. The innermost lining of the blood vessels are called the endothelial cells, and this is the protector or the guardian of your cardiovascular system. Your endothelial system lines the cardiovascular system, and it helps the blood vessels dilate. It keeps everything flowing nice and smooth, and it stops things from going into the interior body. And once these endothelial cells start to break down and get damaged by this oxidative stress, they're no longer able to function properly. And this is where you see the cholesterol levels start declining, the blockages, and the increase in the blood pressure. So protecting and rebuilding the endothelium system is one of the key components of improving your blood pressure. And antioxidants and foods that are rich in antioxidants are how you're gonna get to the root cause of this problem. So when those free radicals are there, understanding that they're naturally going to be there from your metabolism. But when you start consuming foods that are high in sugar and processed foods and the other preservatives and additives that's in these other ingredients, it contributes and allows them to build up. And now with them building up in the system, they start to create that oxidative stress that starts to hammer away at the blood vessels. The oxidative stress starts to build up and hammer away, and it causes inflammation. Now you have a low-grade inflammation going on all throughout your cardiovascular system, and your blood vessels are starting to tighten up. They're starting to stiffen because the inflammation is there, and now they're no longer able to be flexible so the blood can flow through smoothly. And what happens? The heart now has to pump harder in order to get the blood through the tighter blood vessels, and this starts to send your blood pressure up. But when you start to consume those antioxidant-rich foods, now you're starting to allow those antioxidants to come in and do what they need to do. Certain antioxidants such as vitamin C, vitamin E, and flavonoids have been studied for their potential blood pressure lowering effects. These antioxidants may enhance nitric oxide production, which is a molecule that helps relax blood vessels, resulting in improved blood flow and reduced blood pressure. So those endothelial cells, their job is to produce that nitric oxide that dilates the blood vessels. And when they're damaged and not functioning at the optimum level, the production of nitric oxide is low. But when you have those health promoting foods that are providing them with the nutrients that they need, this cranks up your production of nitric oxide. More nitric oxide, the wider the blood vessels are going to be. The blood vessels start to widen, blood can flow through a lot smoothly. Blood flows through a lot smoothly, the heart gets to slow down and relax and not have to work so hard, and this brings the blood pressure down. So it's a combination of things that starts to occur, and it all begins with eating more whole foods. While antioxidants alone may not be a standalone solution for managing high blood pressure, they are an important component of a balanced and nutritious diet that promotes overall cardiovascular health. It's recommended to incorporate a wide range of antioxidants-rich foods into your meals and consult with a health professional for personalized advice on maintaining a healthy lifestyle and managing blood pressure effectively. So we also have the list of foods that are high in antioxidants, and inside of your ebook, I have them broken down in the form of fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. But one thing that we have to also be aware of as well, most people understand that berries are very high in antioxidants, and it's very true. Blueberries, wild blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, cherries, they're very high in antioxidants. But we have to understand whole grains are another great source of antioxidants. And you're talking about just as much as even more than these fresh fruits as well. So adding more health promoting grains, whole grains to your diet is going to help you in those areas. Not only giving you potassium and magnesium and the essentials that you need, it's going to give you the antioxidants and the fiber and all that other great stuff. And now not only are you helping when it comes to regulating your blood pressure, but you're giving your body all of the components that it needs to help you with your overall health. So some individuals like to go to the drugstore and pick up the antioxidant bottle out of the pharmacy. It's not the same thing. Fresh fruits and pills don't work the same way. Whole grains and these, they don't work the same way. It's not as fresh as you. It's not the same type of process because the pills are actually lacking the essentials that needs to come together to make this process work. So understanding that eating more whole foods and adding them to your diet is going to continue to help you get over this hump. And it's 8:07 now. I usually try not to go too long, but I'm going to take any questions that you guys have. That way I can make sure that we're all kind of on the same page. We got any questions, we can kind of get them out. And we'll keep going from there. I did receive an email saying that on participant, but I never received my books. Go to the bottom of that email. It has not only it has the ebooks, it has the ebook, it has the group, and it has the YouTube information that you have. So at the bottom of that email, it has everything there, plus the email that I sent out to notify you about this particular session has everything is there. So multiple emails have been sent out, probably about 8 or 9 over the past 6 days. So one of them has all the information that you need. So just click one open and you'll find everything that you need. What else we got? Any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll keep going. Boom, boom. What about tuna? Yeah, tuna, again, if it's a canned tuna item, it's going to be the same thing when it comes down to the sodium that's added to it. You just simply look at the can and it'll tell you how much sodium is inside of there. So understanding that that canned item is going to be problematic. No matter how much you love it, no matter what you use it on, even if you're trying to do something healthy with it, you got to understand where it's coming from, how it's processed and prepared. And this is going to tell you how it's going to contribute to the issues that you're dealing with. So if you're trying to get over that hump, you know, understanding that you're going to have to go without and remove this from this process in order to move forward. And again, this is part of the method of subtraction. And it's one thing I try to help people understand, like, you know, this process is not about adding things to your diet or supplementation or trying this or trying that. It's all about understanding your body. And the only way you can listen to your body language is by removing the things that is burdening it. If you're still consuming things that are contributing to the problem, you'll never start to see your body move forward and listen to things. And if you're someone that's dealing with aches and ailments and sleep issues and, you know, other chronic issues, you got to start pulling things out. And when you pull things out and start eating or living in a more health promoting way, your body starts to respond. Your pain goes away. Your body starts to give you more energy. This is your body language, the mental clarity that comes behind these types of things. That's your body talking to you, and it's telling you that it wants more of this. It wants more. This whole method is all about removing things that are potentially problematic and letting your body tell you the next step that needs to occur. It's not me healing. It's not me doing anything amazing. It's you having the understanding of how to listen to your body and allowing your body to dictate itself. Our body started from a small egg and a small sperm and built us up to this whole figure that we are. So your body knows exactly how to build itself. of course, it knows how to heal itself as well, but we have to allow or we have to give it the conditions in order to do so. And that's why removal is key. Removing these problematic foods and now let the body do what it needs to do. So hopefully I didn't just drag along like I typically do sometimes. Have to be mindful of how much lemon tahini dressing I use, dipping in my raw veggies is throughout the day. I use dipping my raw veggies. Yeah, cause the lemon tahini again, it's a sesame seed. It tends to have a little bit of calories and it tastes good too. So you kind of get carried away with it. So just be mindful of how much you're having. Although it's a health promoting dressing, too much of anything will have some effects. And if you're trying to lose a couple pounds, that dressing will keep you stagnant because of the ingredients that it contains. So hopefully you guys are all on the same page when it comes down to nuts and seeds and being mindful of how much we're consuming. Because although nuts can be very health promoting, for some individuals, for all individuals, they will keep you fat. And for the individuals that may be dealing with heart issues, they should be very mindful or even not even consume nuts, even though they are health promoting. But again, that saturated fat that's in them, too much of it can contribute to problems. And if you're trying to get over a hump with a particular issue, just not deal with it. Even though it has the essentials that you need, just leave it alone. So heart issues, stay away from nuts. But everyone else, just keep it to a minimum. It's pretty simple. Is red chard better than white Swiss chard? To be honest, they're both roughly on the same level. I grab whichever one I see, depending on how fresh it is. There's not much of a difference that's there. The only thing I can really say is make sure that you get an organic version, because a lot of them are sprayed in different ways to just to protect them, to keep them fresh for the companies, but it ultimately hurts us in a negative way. But try to get the organic version that you have. That's going to be probably the best thing I can say. But all of them are roughly the same. Blue cheese and Romano cheese. Main thing during this process, try to stay away from it. Again, it's a topping that a lot of people use, but the additives that could be behind it, it takes more deciphering of what kind of cheese, what's in it, how it's prepared. It's a lot of different cheeses, and a lot of times most people don't get fresh cheese the way out of most grocery stores. So the best thing I can say is try to avoid it. It's not a necessity for you, and keep moving forward as you go through this journey, and let your body decide how you feel throughout this process. And I appreciate you guys for giving all the thanks. It's definitely my pleasure for showing up and just providing more information. Is sweet tamarind good for you? Yeah, tamarinds are pretty good. I personally don't like them, but they work out for most people. It's not a problematic item. One thing that I do see is understanding some people prepare them certain ways. I've seen them in the grocery store also prepared, and be mindful of what's in them. That's one of the main things. You got to be mindful of what's inside of certain things, because again, companies are there to make money. They make things taste a certain way, and they want it to stay fresh, so they add stuff to it to preserve it. So if you're getting yourself and you're preparing it or doing whatever you need with it yourself, that's great. I've never ran into any problem about it, but the store-bought ones can be problematic. What type of whole grains do I recommend? Quite a few of them. Now, quinoa is definitely one of my favorites. Wild rice is probably the most favorite out of everyone in the house. And when I say wild rice, the black wild rice, which is actually a seed, not necessarily a grain. And after that, those are probably the two biggest ones. I tried buckwheat. I've tried buckwheat a few times. I tried a few others, but those are probably the two main ones I have. The wild rice and the quinoa. I alternate between those two quite often. Some people like to use brown rice. I don't see too many big problems with brown rice outside of how it could be potentially harvested and the complications that can come with it. Because brown rice is a healthy grain that many individuals use all around the world. But what I notice is that when you look at the majority of brown rice, a lot of it is grown in old cotton fields. And from my understanding is that in a lot of studies where they tested brown rice in different areas, the brown rice tend to have higher levels of arsenic in it. And although this arsenic isn't necessarily something that's like damaging and hurting people like crazy, it's having an impact on how your body absorbs minerals. So if you eating brown rice and you have all these other health promoting vegetables on your plate, and you're expecting to get the nutrients from them, the arsenic inside of the brown rice can have an impact on how your body absorbs all those other nutrients. So that's my only drawback on brown rice. But I usually just stick with the wild rice, which is, again, it's a seed. It's a natural rice that comes from like the marsh fields and things like that. It takes a little longer to cook, but it tastes roughly the same. It's not too grainy. It's not hard. It's not too soft. It falls right in the right category. But we have to be mindful that, you got wild rice, red rice, orange rice, different combinations and blend. Fresh wild rice, it says exactly what it is. And you got the cultivated kind as well. Those all tend to be pretty decent versions as well. So wild rice, quinoa tends to be my favorite grains. And again, they are packed with vitamins, minerals, proteins, antioxidants, all those essentials. And you're not skipping a beat when it comes down to it. And just make sure it aligns with your dietary choices. If you're trying to lose weight, be mindful of the grains that you may be consuming or how much you're consuming and things like that. But it doesn't have any other negative effect when it comes down to your overall health. So hopefully I got that question out for you. Does cooking or steaming vegetables remove a lot of the antioxidants? Cooking, yes. Steaming, it depends on how long you steam them. For instance, a couple of the studies that I've also read was about how steaming the vegetables or blanching them quickly, let's say you take some Swiss chard and you blanch it, blanching it helps to break down the cellulose, which is basically the fiber where everything, all the nutrients is encapsulated in. It helps to break it down, and it actually allows for your body to absorb it a lot better. So if you take your Swiss chard and let's say you plan on cooking it, you blanch it and you consume it that way, this allows for it to soften, become nice and tender, and your body absorbs it a lot better. But when you cook it, let's say sauteing it in a skillet, now that heat from the pan starts to break it down. You put heat to anything and it starts to become destroyed. You get a piece of wood and you light it on fire, it starts to break down till it ultimately disintegrates. The same thing happens in every cooking process. Once heat hits it, now it starts to break down, and depending on how long you cook it, that's how long it becomes more and more denatured. So yes, cooking has an impact, but blanching your vegetables, it helps break the cellulose down, and that way your body can absorb it. Excuse me, your body can absorb it a lot better, and it's a lot more beneficial when it comes down to your overall health. I buy organic all the time, and I use it all before it's bagged, even if I have to juice them. Perfect, man. But organic, everyone can't afford organic sometimes, but trust me, if you can, it's gonna taste better, it's gonna last longer, and it's just gonna be, you ultimately get in the rhythm of doing so. One thing that I started when I first started my journey of buying organic, I started with certain things, and that was what's called the Dirty Dozen, and that's 12 foods that are recommended that everybody buy organic. That's your berries and some leafy greens and quite a few others. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but those are the ones that they recommend that everybody buy organic. Reason being, let's say strawberries. The strawberries are one of the top ones on the Dirty Dozen. The studies show that once they took those strawberries that had been sprayed with pesticides and they washed them off and cleaned them as best as they could and then retested them, they had enough pesticides on them again to refertilize a whole nother batch of strawberries. So understanding that those Dirty Dozen foods tend to be high in those pesticides, and those can contribute to a lot of issues that we're dealing with. So organic is always best. If you start out, just start with your leafy greens first. It's probably 50 cents to $1 more. And that can really help you just get in the routine of buying more organic and becoming more health conscious of it. And to be honest, when you start eliminating a lot of those processed foods out of your diet, it gives you more room to purchase more healthier food, because you can buy a box pizza for I think $8 or $10 sometimes. Just eliminating that completely gives you $10 more to put into your health section, and now you have the room to make better options and better choices. So it's a lot of different things that we can do, and we can keep moving forward from that way. I think is packaged quinoa plus wild rice okay, or is it too much sodium? It has packaged quinoa or wild rice has your standard amount of sodium inside of it. I'm not sure exactly how much, but there's no added to it. Reason being, it's a whole grain. Matter of fact, I have some in my cabinet and I want to give you a great answer. So let me go grab it real quick. Give me like 10 seconds, y'all. All right, here we go. I'm back. Sorry about that. So there's no added sodium to packaged quinoa or the packaged wild rice because it's a grain and there's no need to actually preserve it because it has its normal shelf life. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the ingredients here and hopefully I can get you guys a good view of it. Sorry if I don't, but if you can see, sodium is somewhere right there. And as you can see, it's 0 milligrams of added sodium. So it's no sodium at all, actually. No added sodium or any sodium in it. And the only ingredient is organic white quinoa, nothing else. So this is just basically, they harvested it however they do it, and they put it in the bag as is. No preservatives, it's airtight, it's locked in and it's sealed. They do the same thing with wild rice. And what happens is they don't add anything to it. So this is going to be the best version of the type of grain that is. So as you go through your journey, just be sure to read the labels. But most wild rice or most grains, they typically don't have anything else added to it. And that'll help you on your journey. Next one I see. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in. Grits and oatmeal. Grits, I would say definitely stay away from, mainly because it's highly processed. Because again, grits are corn and they have to mill it and break it down and bleach it and wash it and do all these different things to it. And ultimately it becomes white starts in this yellow version and it becomes white and it's highly processed, highly refined, and there's pretty much no nutrients in it. And now you're just getting these added calories and whatever other chemicals are put inside of it, and it's not going to be beneficial for it. And plus they add stuff to it to preserve it, because once you start to remove the fiber and stuff to it, you got to put something else in it to keep it shelf stable. So this is where it becomes complicated. When it comes down to oatmeals, whenever you're consuming oats, I always suggest that you don't buy instant oats, but buy the whole oats or the quick oats, but just the oats itself with nothing added to it. And even if you could get the organic version, that'd be great as well. Those are pretty cheap also. But the main thing about oats is when you buy the quick or instant oats, they have preservatives inside of them, or even the flavored oats. They all have additives inside of them to make them taste a certain way. But the whole oats or the steel cut oats or the quick oats, the regular version, those are going to be the better options when it comes down to those specific grains and things like that. I'll take a few more questions, but it's 8:23. I try not to go more than an hour. We got about 7 minutes or 6 minutes. I'm anemic, and when I eliminate animal protein, I suffer from fatigue. Tomorrow at 4, I will have some salmon on top of a bed of greens. The main thing throughout this process is make sure that you're eating enough food, because you really don't get an iron deficiency if you're eating enough food, unless there's some type of absorption issue. And this will take us into a bigger conversation that we might not have enough time for. But make sure you eat enough food during this process. And as you eat enough food, this is going to make sure that your body's getting those essentials, especially when it comes down to those leafy greens, because those are going to provide you with all those essentials that your body needs, especially when it comes down to iron and absorption. So eating enough food during this process, this is going to hold you over and keep you moving in the right direction. But dealing with anemia, you know, it's for most people, the iron is present there, but they're not absorbing it. So understand that you might have anemia and you try to eat this or take that and the problem is still there. It's an absorption problem that has to be dealt with. And the sooner you get to the root cause of this absorption issue that you're dealing with, the more you'll be able to correct this issue and allow your body to actually absorb the iron that it needs to help you correct this type of problem. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again to further break down the fruit and salad challenge. And remember, this is step 1 to this journey. And this is part one of the 6 phase challenges that we're going to do. The pressure purge challenge is coming up, and I will be sending out email and links about this one. That way, if you're interested in continue to move forward through this process, you have the option to do so. So peace and blessings. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.